Los Angeles. Mid-1990s. The streets are boiling over with gang wars. The Rampart district is one of the most violent patches in America, and the LAPD is fighting a war it feels like it's losing. But sometimes, the most dangerous man on the street is the one wearing the badge. This is the story of Rafael Perez, the disgraced LAPD officer whose crimes, lies, and double-crossing helped inspire Denzel Washington's character, Alonzo Harris, from the movie Training Day. But the real story, it's darker, it's bigger, and it nearly brought down the entire LAPD. Health Wealth Diary presents the real story behind the iconic movie Training Day. Rafael Antonio Perez was born in Puerto Rico on August 22, 1967. When he was 5 years old, his mother moved him and his two brothers to the United States. Perez and his family settled in Brooklyn, New York, then in Paterson, New Jersey, and eventually Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in 1982. Perez graduated from high school in 1985 and enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, where he was stationed in Maine and California. After finishing his military service in 1989, he joined the Los Angeles Police Department. By all accounts, he came across as clean-cut, ambitious, and eager to make a name for himself. And that's exactly what Perez did, just not the way anyone expected. In 1992, Perez, who went by Ray on the force, began working undercover assignments on the narcotics buy team. He partnered with Officer David Mack, and the two bonded strongly personally and professionally. Perez would even credit Mack with saving his life during a buy that turned deadly. Perez, like many young narcotics officers, felt the adrenaline rush of buying drugs from street dealers, relishing in the power and authority of it. He believed he'd found his place in the world. He felt untouchable. Perez gained a reputation as a tough and effective officer, valued for his fluency in Spanish and his knowledge of gang culture in LA. In 1995, he was assigned to the Rampart Division, home of the infamous Crash Unit, an anti-gang tactical team that was supposed to be the elite. These were the guys sent into the most dangerous neighborhoods to crack down on the Bloods, Crips, and every street crew in between. Crash stood for Community Resources Against Street Hoodlums. But what it really became was a unit with almost no oversight. The officers were aggressive. They were feared. They were rewarded for results, not for following the rules. Arrests, gun seizures, drug busts, that's what got you respect. And Perez wanted respect more than anything. Inside Crash, Perez teamed up with another officer, Nino Durden, a flashy cop who loved the street life. Together, they formed a duo that acted more like criminals with badges than law enforcement. They ran informants like soldiers, used intimidation to control neighborhoods, and operated in the shadows. This was the environment that would eventually inspire Training Day's world, a place where the lines between cop and criminal blurred until they disappeared completely. In October 1996, Javier Ovando, an illegal immigrant from El Salvador, was staying in an abandoned apartment building in the Rampart area. The building was known to police, but that night it was quiet. No shootout, no call for backup, no chaos. Just two LAPD officers, Rafael Perez and Nino Durden, walking into a darkened apartment. What happened next would become one of the most shocking examples of police brutality and corruption in American history. Inside that apartment, Perez and Nino encountered Ovando. According to their original police report, Ovando suddenly pulled a gun and opened fire. The officers claimed they returned fire in self-defense. That story was a lie. Ovando was shot multiple times at close range. One bullet shattered his spinal cord, leaving him paralyzed from the waist down. Another round tore through his jaw. He lay bleeding on the floor, unable to move. Then came the cover-up. Instead of calling for immediate medical aid, Perez and his partner planted a gun near Ovando's body, a drop gun carried specifically for situations like this. They radioed in a fabricated shootout and prepared their story before anyone else arrived. Despite being paralyzed, despite having no criminal record that justified the charges, Ovando was prosecuted as an attempted cop killer. Perez and Nino took the stand and testified under oath that Ovando had fired first. The jury believed the cops. Javier Ovando was convicted and sentenced to 23 years in state prison. For a short time, Perez was on top of the world. He was affiliated with gang members, drug dealers, and every other shady person you can meet, all while being a decorated police officer. His former partner David Mack was also affiliated to one Piru Blood Gang member and CEO of Death Row Records, Marion Shook Knight. At the same time, Death Row Records is becoming a cultural empire, loud, powerful, and deeply connected to street politics. Shook Knight kept his own security, which consisted of Piru Bloods and off-duty police officers. Two of those officers being Rafael Perez and David Mack. On the night of March 9, 1997, rapper Christopher Wallace, who was better known as the Notorious B.I.G., was murdered in a drive-by shooting, leaving an awards show after party in Los Angeles. Christopher Wallace's relatives filed a wrongful death suit against the LAPD. The lawsuit stated that Rafael Perez, David Mack, and certain unknown persons were responsible for the murder of the Notorious B.I.G. No one was ever charged for the murder, and the case remains unsolved to this day. On November 6, 1997, a man entered a Bank of America and claimed he wanted to access his safe deposit box. The assistant bank manager accompanied him to the vault area, where he threw her to the floor and robbed the vault of $722,000. After 1 month of investigation, the assistant bank manager confessed to her role in the crime and implicated her boyfriend David Mack as the mastermind. He was arrested in December 1997. His two accomplices were never caught, and although he was never charged, Perez was always suspected as being one of the accomplices. David Mack was sentenced to 14 years in federal prison. According to street lore, the money from the bank robbery was intended to go to Harry Billups, also known as Amir Muhammad, for allegedly carrying out the murder of Christopher Wallace months earlier. Denzel Washington's gripping performance as Alonzo Harris in Training Day feels larger than life. It was aggressive, charismatic, almost cartoonishly corrupt. But when the Hollywood shine is stripped away, Alonzo Harris isn't an invention. He's a composite character built from real men and real cases, most notably Perez, his partners David Mack and Nino Durden, and the unchecked culture of the LAPD's Rampart division in the 1990s. Like Alonzo, Perez operated with an above-the-law mentality. In the film, Alonzo moves through the streets as if he owns them, believing the badge makes him untouchable. Perez carried that same confidence in real life. He admitted under oath that he planted drugs and guns, falsified reports, and lied in court repeatedly, not out of desperation, but because he believed the system would protect him no matter what. On March 27, 1998, Rafael Perez became a magician. He made 6 pounds of cocaine disappear from the police property room. Within a week of the theft, detectives focused on Perez, creating an internal investigative task force that focused primarily on his prosecution. On August 25, 1998, Rafael Perez, a 9-year veteran of the Los Angeles Police Department, was arrested and charged with cocaine possession with intent to sell. His December 1998 trial ended as a mistrial. The prosecution was ready to try him again, This time they had gathered enough evidence to nail him for good. On September 8, 1999, to avoid a possible life sentence, Perez cut a plea bargain with the authorities. As a result of his plea deal, Perez was required to cooperate with investigators looking into the Rampart crash unit. Over 9 months, he admitted to hundreds of instances of perjury, fabrication of evidence, and false arrests. Perez admitted to stealing drugs from police evidence lockers and reselling them on the street. He admitted to robbing drugs, guns, and cash from gang members. In the end, Perez implicated 70 other officers, including former partner Nino Durden. By the time he finished, his testimony filled over 4,000 pages. This wasn't just a bad cop. This was a man who detonated a bomb inside the LAPD. His confessions triggered the Rampart scandal, one of the largest police corruption investigations in U.S. history. As a result of the Rampart scandal, over 100 wrongful convictions were overturned. Los Angeles paid out over $125 million in lawsuits. One of those lawsuits involved Javier Ovando. His 23-year wrongful conviction cost the city of Los Angeles $15 million, the largest police misconduct settlement in the city's history. On July 24, 2001, Perez was released, having served 3 of a 5-year sentence. He changed his name to Ray Lopez and moved to another state, where he started a new life far from the chaos he created. After being convicted for the 1997 Bank of America robbery, David Anthony Mack was released from federal prison on May 14, 2010. He never revealed where the stolen money was hidden, and during his incarceration, he bragged to fellow inmates that he expected to be a millionaire by the time he got out. David Mack has since left Los Angeles and has never been seen again. In Training Day, corruption has a face. His name is Alonzo Harris. He's exposed in one day, abandoned by the streets he once controlled and ultimately erased. It's a clean ending, satisfying, Hollywood justice. But real life was nothing like that. There was no single Alonzo Harris in Los Angeles. There were many.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
Rafael Perez planted evidence and destroyed lives, then walked away after cooperating. David Mack robbed a bank, vanished into prison silence, and left behind unanswered questions. In the movie, the system collapses around one bad cop. In reality, the system protected itself. In the movie, the rookie Jake Hoyt survives by rejecting corruption. In reality, the truth only surfaced when corruption became impossible to hide, when cocaine disappeared, when a paralyzed man named Javier Ovando proved the lies, and when the damage was already irreversible. Hollywood gives us closure. Reality gives us consequences. The Rampart scandal ended with overturned convictions, shattered trust, and victims who will never be made whole. And maybe that's the most disturbing comparison of all. Training Day ends when the bad cop dies. The real story ends when the bad cop goes home. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the notifications for more dope videos from the Health Wealth Diary.